going in. Fam. So Chris Rock finally dropped his Netflix special, his much anticipated Netflix special. And whoa. Now, he talked about a number of things in the special, as he typically does in a show. He covered his girls, his daughters being privileged. He talked about the Kardashians. He spoke on slavery. He talked about Meghan Markle and her, playing the victim, crying about being a victim and she's being so privileged and all this kind of stuff. He talked about how difficult it is for a white woman to be brought to the family of a black man, or a black woman being brought to the family of a white man and trying to be accepted by his family. The argument was which one of them was more difficult to pull off. He addressed the elephant in the room a couple of times, but he kind of touched on it and moved on. And then about the last 10 minutes, he went in on Jada and Will. And it kind of threw me off a little. Now, fam, I'm a comedy connoisseur. And I like Will and I like Chris. Both of these guys are immensely talented. But I'm a comedy connoisseur. And so when I listen to comedy, I'm always listening for the joke more so than the commentary. I want to hear the jokes if we're talking about jokes. Chris was on his A game. I mean, he was on it. He was on it. He was on his game. That last 10 minutes or so, I don't really know how I feel about that. Simply because, again, family, I want to hear the jokes. And Chris went into another world. And I get it, fam. That was, he was publicly embarrassed. And I do believe in going off where you show off, right? Wherever you go off, that's why I show off. So I kind of understand why he did what he did and why he felt the way he felt. But me being a comedy connoisseur, just comedy, for me, the joke is the most important thing. The joke is more important than anything. The joke. You can talk about social issues. You can talk about political issues. You can talk about family and all this stuff. And you can talk about the R that you have for particular issues and situations. But it's got to come back to funny. And, while he made some strong points, in that last 10 minutes. Now, he made some good points. But we're talking about jokes. And, the last 10 minutes, I was like, whoa. I mean, he went off. He went off. His biggest issue, he said, that he had with Will was that, the selective outrage. He said, man, everybody was talking about, cracking jokes about your relationship, your entanglement with your woman and everything. Everybody cracking jokes. But so why you pick on me? Out of all the people, you decide to check me, put your hands on me, so to speak. So he had a good point with that. And I'm sure Will had to do some reconciling himself about that situation. I hate even having to even talk about these two guys because I really do cut for both of these dudes. But I'm going to call a strike and a ball a ball. So I get where Chris was coming from. he had to address the elephant in the room. And for a moment there, I thought he was just going to just kind of like touch and go and that's it, leave it alone. But, whoo, man, it seemed like something got into him. I don't even know if that last piece was planned to go like the way he went, like for him to display so much anger. That last piece wasn't nothing funny about it. It was no joking at all. It was 10 minutes of pure anger. It was that last 10, oh man. I don't even know if I've ever seen a comedian. Yes, I have. I have. And I actually, when it happened, I actually spoke to that comedian who is a big star now. I remember him doing his piece when he was an amateur. Well, he was an amateur. He was getting paid, but crumbs, few $100 a night. And I remember watching him for the first time, and we met. The owner of the club introduced us. And he was like, yeah, Willie D, man, big fan, man. I'm a big fan. I said, yeah, man, I'm a big fan now, man. I'm a fan, right? I'm a new fan of yours, big fan. And then I gave him some pointers on his on his routine. Like, man, you can talk about whatever you want to talk about in this comedy, but it's got to be funny. You got to put the funny in it. One of the best to ever do that was Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor was a master at social political commentary. Most people didn't get it because they was too busy laughing. But Richard put that information in there. He put instructions in his jokes. Most people couldn't catch it because they was too busy laughing. And that is the sign of a great one. When you can actually deliver that commentary, when you can actually talk about the BS that's going on in the world, the things that make you angry and frustrated, and still make it funny, you're on to something. So actually, when he took in what I said, he received it. And it wasn't long after that he was doing big movies. And he switched it up, he still was talking about it, but he made sure he put the funny in it. So on a personal note, as a comedy connoisseur, as somebody who has watched the greats, all of the greats, I'm talking about all of them, someone who has watched most of the greats who we know today, the ones who are at the top of their game today, I supported when they were like pups on stage, getting on stage for free, trying out their new material. Many of them was, might not even make $50 that night, And I was there in the little small comedy clubs watching them. So I mess with that comedy for real. And I know a little bit what I'm talking about when I talk about make sure you put the funny in it. Because people come to comedy shows to laugh. They come to comedy shows to get away from the stress. It's a temporary escape from the pressures of society. I'm sure most of you guys who watched that show tonight was watching that show because you wanted to laugh, not because you wanted to be angry. You watched that show to laugh. And I understand, I like political commentary. I like social commentary. I like the comedians who put that in. I like those kind of comedians more than anybody. Corey Holcomb is one of the few comedians that don't do political commentary that I really like. Like Corey is at the top of the list for me. Like when it comes, he's one of the top all time, period. But most of the comedians that I like, that I enjoy listening to, they're the ones who have a message. They're the ones who are socially conscious, who knows what's going on. They are the ones who are cognizant of their environment. They're cognizant of how the government operates. Those are the comedians that I tend to like more. Jokes is cool, but I like smart comedians. I like those type of dudes more than anything. And I like the smart comedy. I like that smart comedy. But having said that, most comedians are smart. Because think about it, fam. It don't matter what style they're doing. It takes a pretty witty guy to be able to have that time and to deliver a message and talk about what's going on in the world and put it in a way that evokes laughter and do it with great timing. You know, the timing, the antics, the disposition, uh, the facial expressions, all of that stuff is comedy. You know, there's some people like Corey Holcomb can make you laugh just by the expression on his face. He already got an edge on everybody else. He's already light years ahead of most comedians before he even when he walk on the stage, before he even open his mouth, you're already laughing because Corey got them expressions. So he gonna murder you just before he even open his mouth. He already got the audience. So he has a huge advantage. And there's only a few comedians who really have that, who got that thing where they can do the expressions, they can have that look on their face and you just start laughing. You know, a lot of cats, you be just sitting there like, okay, what you got for me? But getting back to the jokes, fam, getting back to the jokes. That caught me off guard. Those last 10 minutes caught me off guard. The trip part about it is that, you know, the Oscars is like, I think a week away or something like that. And this was like this was a hell of a strategy. If that was I guess that was the plan, to drop this on the heels of the Oscars, you know? And it's like, if, you know, this is going to run. This is probably going to stick around as long as that slap is going to stick around. So maybe Chris got even with this, you know, as disrespectful as it was, maybe he got even with it. Oh man, he went there. Totally disrespectful the last 10 minutes. But, you know, he had, again, you know, he made some solid points. So he wasn't just talking to be talking. He wasn't just firing off. You know, he wasn't just ranting. You know, he pieced it together. He put it together. So, but I was just surprised that he went there and he was like, and he stood there that long, you know, like 10 minutes is a long time to display anger in comedy. That's a long time. Yeah, you comedians out there, y'all know what I'm talking about. That's a long time. But I think if that's what he was aiming for, like to really smash the gas, to leave everybody like stunned, shocked, mission accomplished. Going into the comments. The Big Sam, what's up? The epitome of loyalty, say. Okay, I'm glad he got it out. Okay, Tara. Okay, so it looks like everybody's saying, mostly people are saying that the last 10 minutes were necessary. That's what Tara says. Okay, everybody loved Chris. The twins say, was it funny? It was funny. The overall show was funny, but you know, personal opinion, the last 10 minutes wasn't funny to me. The last 10 minutes wasn't funny to me. Black Connection says he's still embarrassed. Yeah, I mean, that would take a long time for anybody to get over something like that. Lee Road. SJ says, I loved it. Who is that? Leonard Hargrove. What's up? What's up? James Hill. That's right, Pew Bear. Smash up those likes, fam. Smash up those likes. That like button is like when you come into a dark room, fam. You know how you automatically hit that switch and turn those lights on? When you come on the show, fam, immediately hit that like button. You ain't necessarily hitting the like button because you agree with what I'm saying. You're hitting the like button because you appreciate me taking the time out of my schedule to bring you this information and instructions, you know? So you're hitting the like to just show your appreciation for me bringing you the content. That's what it's about. Real world high on life. He will remember that slap many years to come. Scot free. Is Arsenio even aging? Shouts out to Arsenio. That's the homie. Legend. Chris is back on top. He is. I mean, this put him back up there. Like he was already, he never really fell off. But this right here, this is all people going to be talking about for the next week or so. I promise you that. Like tomorrow, this is all the headlines. This is what everybody's going to be talking about. That's why I went live right now to beat him to the punch. No pun intended. Yeah. This is all people are going to be talking about tomorrow. Yeah, man. This is yeah, that specifically that last 10 minutes. Okay, David Wright, what up? Because says not really funny. Sherman Hensley, who is this? Jacinta Baskin. Sherman Hensley, Richard Pryor, Bernie Mac, Steve Harvey, Martin Lawrence, Cedric the Entertainer, Will Smith, Chris Rock, Eddie Murphy. Y'all know the ones. What's your point here? Thought you was making a point, man. I wouldn't even read all of that stuff if you. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, Ramses Stafford says, I got no problem with it. Chris Rock don't have to be passive about the whole slap thing. Sarah Brown says, I love the entire show, going to watch it. D, what up? Mighty God says, Willie, you can be a comedian yourself. You make me laugh a lot. Nah, man, I couldn't be a comedian. I'm not good at remembering stuff like that. Like, I like comedy. I got a few jokes in me. I got a few jokes, but after that first 5 minutes or so, I'd be like, man, what the hell was I about to say? Like, what was I about? I mean, and see, I wouldn't be the type of comedian that would look at my phone. I know comedians that look at their phone. In fact, I've been seeing singers. I saw a singer. I was at an event a couple of nights ago, and a singer was looking at her phone, singing a song. She sounded pretty decent, but she threw me off with that looking at her phone, singing the words, like singing and looking at. I'm like, man, what the hell is this? Did the people who hire her know in advance that she would be looking at her phone while performing? Hell, she may as well have been doing karaoke. I would never hire somebody that would sing and look at their phone. That's like watching somebody do comedy and they looking at notes. They sitting up there reading from a piece of paper. Nah, man, that's called lazy to me, man. That's lazy performance. I want no part of something like that. But yeah, I couldn't do the comedy thing, fam, because I just would not remember stuff. You know, I just would not remember. I'd be like, man, now, especially if I get a heckler. Ooh, man, get a heckler. They be throwing me off. You know, I got to go in on the heckler for a moment. You know, you just got to stop, go in on the heckler, and then get back to your set. You be like, now, what the hell was I saying? You know, you can't be asking the audience, what were you saying? You got to be smooth with it like them top boys be doing. Them top boys be knowing what they doing, man. They don't have to ask, where was I? They just jump right back in because they're used to it. They're programmed for it. So, yeah, Yeah, that's why I salute those guys, man. Those guys, that's an incredible talent. That's if you can do it good, if you can do it really good, that's an incredible talent. Sometimes, it takes some of those comedians, man, you know, 2, 3 years to get a good 30 minutes, 5 years sometimes to get a good 30 minutes, just to get a good 30 minutes. That comedy ain't no joke. That's why when you see people like Corey Holcomb and Dave Chappelle, you know, pumping out those jokes like this, that Bill Burr type, just pump them jokes out like that. Them boys, that's where it's at. I'm talking about they be putting that material out there where you'll see some comedians be telling the same jokes 3, 4, 5 years later. I'm like, damn, he's been telling that same joke for 5 years. Some comedians tell the same jokes for 10 years. What's up, Katie Lee? Black Storm. Caleb Green says the last 10 minutes wasn't meant to be funny. It was meant to be a public slaughtering. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If that was the desired effect, then he accomplished what he was looking to do. But I reserve the right to give him the benefit of doubt that he knew what he was doing. Okay, I reserve the right to give him the benefit of doubt that he planned it that way because he's such a professional, but somebody on his level has to know that the joke is the most important thing. Your personal beefs, your personal gripes, you should never bring that on that stage because, you can bring it on the stage, but it's got to be funny. At the end of the day, it's got to be funny. The joke is more important than your personal gripe. Now, if you can speak on your personal gripe and make it funny, fine. But that's the most important thing when you're on that stage and you're doing comedy. You got to make it work with the joke. The jokes. People are not invested in your pain as you are. They come to laugh. Nobody came to hear you rant and talk about your personal gripes and just, be angry. They come to see you because they know your history. They know about how you get down, they know how you rock, right? They know how you rock. So they want to see you get down on some jokes. They don't want to see a person just, talk about their personal gripes for a whole 10 minutes. It's kind of like going to watch your favorite artist perform. Like say, for instance, for example, Prince, right? That was my guy, Prince. Now, Prince would get on stage. I've been to many Prince concerts, and I told him myself, Prince would get on stage and he would perform 15, 20 minutes of music you ain't never heard before he performed one song that everybody know. Now, fam, as much as people come to a concert to see you on that stage perform, they want to sing along. They want to rap along, sing along. They want to hear the songs that they know. They ain't coming there to learn new songs. If you got one song, maximum 2 songs they never heard before, and it's brilliant, you got a hell of a show with it, fine. But if you just up there and you singing some new stuff and you rocking out, okay. If you Prince, you get the benefit of the doubt. They're not gonna boo you, but they are gonna become restless. They're gonna be sitting up there like, okay, man, when can I hear some doves fly? When are the doves gonna fly, man? When can I hear some Purple Rain, man? I need to hear some Darling Nikki. What's up? You know, they gonna be waiting on diamonds and pearls. Like, man, I got to sing along. That's what the people want to hear. You got to give the people what they want. You got to give the people what they want. The same thing if you got a problem with a band member and you backstage, y'all could be backstage duking it out. But when you step on that stage, you got to give the people what they want. The people don't care about what y'all just had going on backstage. That's petty to them. The fans want a good show. They paid their money to see a show, and they deserve to see a show. They deserve to see a good show. Suck it up, Buttercup, and get on out there and give the people what they came to see. That's how that go. King, who is that? King Zah says the last 10 minutes was the best part. Swayze said Chris doesn't disappoint. He did a good job. I'm coming to get my bike back, says the MJ and OJ stuff wasn't funny either. The MJ and the OJ stuff wasn't funny either. What's up, Joe? William Hall, what it do? Tiffany Coates. Yeah, Tiffany said it was time for Chris to publicly express himself. You know what? He waited a whole year. That's a long time to really hold all that in. You know, he spoke briefly on it. Like I seen him on stage a couple of times speaking very briefly, especially like right after everything happened. But as far as like going in, that's the first time he went in. Yeah, I predicted that Chris Rock would give a good show tonight, but I wasn't prepared for that last 10 minutes. That last 10 minutes caught me off guard. So hopefully Will and Chris, you know, can get past this at some point. I know this is going to be hard to get past. You know, you had the slap, and now you got basically another slap in the face with the way Chris Rock addressed, you know, the issue. Like he went in, fam. I'm talking about he went in. So we'll see how that works out. I think that because both of these guys have been immensely talented and blessed, they've had some ups and downs in their careers, but the last several years, you know, they've had way more success than any type of failures. I'm talking about, when I say several years, I'm talking 2-3 decades. So, you know, a little humility, you know, sometimes is good. You know, I'm not even saying that it was warranted. I'm just saying that sometimes it'll make you a better person. You know, it make you tighten up, right? I'm gonna put a few more comments out here. And then I'm gonna shut it down. Herman Hartone, what's up? Harton. Yeah. So Prince for the first time at High Fines Pavilion. Now Theater Center. Yeah, right. He jumped off the stack of speakers. Yeah, Prince was like the consummate musician. Prince would go and play like the arena, and then we go to an after party, and Prince would like play a small venue like that hold like 500-600 people, and sometimes even more intimate than that, something like a total private party where it's like maybe 200 people, and Prince would get on stage and rock out for an entire 2 hours, even harder than he did on the big stage where he got the big bucks. And sometimes he would just come. I mean, he'd take a few $1,000s to come in or whatever. It was no big deal. He just did it for the love. Like that dude was real serious about that music. But I just didn't like when he play out. I was a big fan, but I want to hear the hits. I'm cool with hearing a new song. I'm talking about in concert. Cool with hearing a new song or two while you're rocking out on stage when you're starting. But let's get to them hits. Let's get to the hits. I'm cool with hearing the new stuff first. We can ride around. Let me hear the new stuff. Whoop, whoop, whoop. So we can be in the studio. Let me hear the new stuff. Right? That's dope. That's great to be able to hear Prince music before everybody else can hear it. But on that stage, when it's time to perform, the fans want the hits. They ain't trying to figure out what is he saying. What did he just say? They want the hits. Lexi Wesker. Okay, y'all keep talking about Marlon Wayans special. I guess I'm gonna have to check that out. I have to check it out. Yeah. Okay. All right, fam. That's a wrap for me. Really didn't intend on going live, but after I watched the special, I was like, I gotta go live. I gotta do it right now. I was just gonna cover it tomorrow, but I decided let me go ahead and go live on this right now while it's on my mind. But yeah, overall for me, great special. Good show overall. But what say you, fam? Drop a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are. And I see Serena Santiago. What's up, Serena? Yeah, overall, I give it a thumbs up. But what say you, fam? Drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Until next time, family, no more talk.